Cambridge. Welcome to What's That About, where we answer all your questions about the pressing issues of the day, brought to you by CCTV.
CCTV, we're cool and you're not.
Max, you don't know who's watching. Some of them might also be cool.
Unlikely. Our first question comes from Aurelio on Thorndike Street. Aurelio asks, okay, the election is finally over, but I'm not sure how to feel about the results. Can you explain what they mean to average Canterbridgians? Sure, Aurelio, that's what we're here for. It's in our name. What's that about? So what did happen, Julie?
Well, on the city council, where 8 of 9 incumbents ran except for brothel enthusiast Paul Toner, only Aisha Wilson lost her seat. Newcomers on the council are Aya Al-Zubi of the DSA and Tim Flaherty, who was Paul Toner's lawyer and who feels like his designated replacement. He even received a $500 campaign donation from Toner.
Hey, we interviewed Aya for our election preview episode with the full interview available here.
That's right, and we were supposed to interview Tim Flaherty, but he canceled the night before once he saw that we were going to ask him about his guilty plea and bar suspension for trying to bribe a witness from testifying in a hate crime trial.
Yeah, Flaherty was the only challenger who decided not to do an interview with us. Apparently, he felt like he didn't need the publicity when he raised over $150,000 in campaign donations, which is almost 3 times that of the next largest campaigns, incumbents Mark McGovern and Denise Simmons.
He also only participated in one candidate forum and didn't have much of a platform of any substance. Word on the street is that the machine that backed Tim Tooney and Paul Toner decided to throw their weight behind Mr. Flaherty, and that was enough as he came in 7th in ranked choice voting, receiving 1,818 first-place votes.
But enough about a candidate who waltzes into office with huge amounts of money, minimum effort, and no real public platform. Not that there's anything wrong with that. Let's talk about the rest of the council.
Right. Well, perennial winner Sumbul Siddiqui got the most votes, but only 6 more than Mark McGovern, 2869 to 2863.
Wow, great job, friends of What's That About? Mark McGovern, who has been on the show twice, and Sumbul Siddiqui, who has been on once. That probably didn't hurt their chances. Tim, maybe you would have placed a little higher if you'd come on.
After that was Aya Al-Zubi in 3rd, CCC favorite Kathy Zusi in 4th, ABC endorsee Burhan Azim in 5th, and another DSA member, Jeevan Sabrina Wheeler, who has also been on our show, in 6th.
Wow, What's That About is really turning into a power broker in Cambridge. Come on our show and get elected. Is it time for us to sell out and start asking people for bribes?
I don't know, maybe we could ask 7th place finisher Tim Flaherty for advice on the best way to take a bribe. He seems to have experience in giving them.
I don't know if we should ask him, Julie. He got caught, which I would not like. Dear Feds, if you're listening, we are definitely not interested in taking bribes.
To round out the rest of the results, current Mayor E. Denise Simmons came in 8th. Her campaign might have been hurt by the allegations of impropriety around the school superintendent search, but not enough to lose her seat.
And last in was Patty Nolan at 9th with 1,506 votes. She may have been impacted by her seesawing on the support for the cycling safety ordinance and complicated positions on new zoning regulations. It is harder to pin down where she stood on those 2 big issues, so she never seemed to be a favorite of any of the big voting blocs this year.
And the first 2 not to make the cut were John Hanratty at 1,325 votes and Dana Bollister at 1,199 votes. We interviewed both candidates for the show. Fans may remember Bollister's very interesting ideas to battle vacant property with a land value tax, help the parking problems with variable pricing, and her strong support of government goats. Boop.
It would be pretty cool to have government goats.
Yeah. And we also interviewed John Hanratty. Incumbent Aisha Wilson fell all the way to 12th. It's hard to know the exact reasons, but she was kind of loathed on Cambridge cycling Reddit for her callous comments downplaying the importance of cycling safety just after hearing from the relatives of recent cyclists killed on city streets. Her stance on housing also seemed to fall in the middle, but CCC's endorsement almost certainly hurt her with more progressive voters.
So let's put these results in context. What does it mean for the future direction of the city council?
In terms of big ticket issues like the shoring up and extension of bike lanes started by the CSO, this is a big win for the pro-bike contingent. As viewers learned in our interview, Al-Zubi is a huge cycling advocate and will join Azim, Siddiqui, Sabrina Wheeler, and McGovern as consistent cycling advocates, along with sometimes Patty Nolan.
Right, and it seems supporters of multifamily zoning and further easing of restrictions on more housing construction will be in about the same place. ABC endorsees Azim, Sabrina Wheeler, Siddiqui, McGovern, and Simmons will still largely hold a strong majority. Al-Zubi has been more measured in her support of upzoning, but promised not to roll any changes back. Also, with 2 DSA members on the council should move more left, so expect to see a lot more action around social housing.
It's worth mentioning that Flaherty is basically replacing Toner. Flaherty hasn't said much, but in his one public forum appearance in Porter Square, he seemed to align himself firmly with the CCC NIMBY position, saying, "Get off my lawn," to a new affordable housing override, or AHO-enabled project on Walden Street. Toner had a much more positive view of upzoning, so expect Flaherty to align more with Zusi in a NIMBY coalition that will probably be more toothless, even if they can convince El-Zubi and Nolan to sometimes work with them.
Pre-election, there was some concern on Reddit that there was only one real slot for a progressive DSA candidate, but Sabrina Wheeler and El-Zubi got in pretty easily. It'd be interesting to see if more young voters voted this year, or maybe Cambridge voters are more progressive than originally thought if they're provided with strong candidates. In particular, El-Zubi's campaign style and videos seem to be channeling new NYC Mayor-elect Zohran Mamdani.
Which, I mean, why argue with what works? I wonder if John Hanratty or Dana Bollister are taking notes for the next election.
One negative coming out of this election, no matter who you supported, only around 35% of eligible voters cast a ballot. In line or slightly greater than previous years, but way less than even years when state and national candidates are on the ballot.
Which makes me think that we should be holding elections on even years. But what do I know? I just do a tiny cable access show out of my spare bedroom. Enough about the council for now. Let's talk about the other items on the ballot. What happened to the referendum on charter reform?
The charter reform questions passed.
Cool. Does that mean Cambridge now has a mayor for life that you have to call Your Magnificence or face an afternoon in the stocks with tomatoes thrown at you?
No. After 85 years without a single change in language, the tweaks approved by voters basically means the council will have veto power over the city manager on some additional municipal appointments, and also the school committee will now be able to elect its own chair. Previously, the mayor was automatically the chair of the school committee, although the mayor will still be a member.
Well, it's probably good that Their Magnificence won't be running things, especially after the superintendent fiasco we covered last month. And what happened to the school council votes? Did voters send a message at the ballot box to the incumbents?
Well, the voters did seem to be a little mad. Only 3 of 6 incumbents got reelected, with one of the incumbents, Rachel Weinstein, not running.
I see that Luisa de Paula Santos, Caitlin Doobie, and Arjun Jaikumar are the first-time winners. They all campaigned against the shenanigans around the superintendent search and were also endorsed by the Cambridge Teachers Union. That seems like a pretty strong anti-incumbent statement.
Maybe, and Elizabeth Hudson and Richard Harding, essentially the only 2 committee members to push back against the search process, were 2 of the incumbents reelected. Vice Chair Caroline Hunter, who signed off on the likely illegal $40,000 no-bid contract to the superintendent search committee, finished well out of the running. But David Weinstein, who basically has said he didn't see a problem with the process, was reelected.
I'm pretty confident that the new, more progressive-leaning city council will not reappoint Denise Simmons as mayor. So the last member of the school committee, who is still going to be the mayor, will likely be new too.
True, it'll be an interesting term for the school committee. According to the Harvard Crimson, Harding and Hudson have often gone against the grain in school committee votes, voting against budgets and pushing for more review of teachers. Now they're joined by 3 union-endorsed candidates and David Weinstein.
And whoever is appointed Your Magnificence by the council. I'll bring popcorn. Cambridge Politics is the best show we got going on these days.
Next to What's That About, of course.
Of course. Keep your dial tuned to CCTV, where we'll cover all the exciting ups and downs of the next 2 years of city government.
Nobody has dials on their TVs anymore, old man.
Hey,
Or even watches their TV. Most of our viewers are on streaming or YouTube.
come on, Julie. I'm cool. Everybody thinks so. 6-7, right?
That's going to be a no from me, dog. Until next week, Cambridge voters,
We'll see you first.